Hello, welcome on in everybody. Today I've got some PvP clips for you guys, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the PvP scaling in New World. If you didn't get a chance to check the patch notes, well, the scaling was adjusted for the open beta from the closed beta that we had a month ago. And they basically changed the scaling so that your levels matter more in this beta than they did in the previous beta. Now, just to clarify, in the previous beta, if you were a higher level than your opponent, you definitely still had a lot of advantages over them, and PvP scaling is only limited to PvP. It doesn't affect how much damage you're doing to the mobs and world around you. So essentially, we got to try two different versions of PvP in this game. One version in the previous beta where PvP had a lot more emphasis on player ability and skill rather than the progression or the power of the items that you have. And then this beta, we got to test the other extreme, where the progression mattered a lot more, and individual skill couldn't make up for the gap if your opponent had enough levels on you. During the last beta, if you were a lower level player and you picked a fight with someone that was significantly higher level than you actually stood a bit of a chance against them. Most of the time, this was good for PvP because it promoted competition. PvP isn't fun when one player stands no chance against the other player. You could even argue that it's not as much fun even for the player that's winning when they know that there's no chance that they could lose. The excitement that comes along with PvP combat just isn't there, I think, when the competition isn't there either. Now, that being said, this system wasn't perfect. There were some people that did get to endgame in the last closed beta, and they talked about having some pretty extreme situations where they'd fight a lower level player, and because they themselves didn't have a good gear score on their endgame character, they dealt almost no damage to the low level player, and the low level player was dealing a ton of damage to them. Now, I didn't see any video evidence of this, just lots of posts on the forums from people and their subjective experiences. But this definitely sounds like it could be a problem that arises with a PvP scaling system. Having played a lot of the Elder Scrolls Online, which has a similar scaling system, I have seen it myself where someone has a low-level alt with really powerful gear on it, and it's stronger than most fully leveled characters. And in some ways, that can definitely not be healthy for the game. I think if someone's invested a lot of time into building their character, they don't want to feel like it's all been wasted by going up against someone who's a very low level and standing no chance against them. At the same time, as a hardcore PvP player, I do really like the idea of equal competition, even if your opponent is lower level than you. Subjectively, PvP is more fun when it's competitive, so levels shouldn't have as huge an impact. I understand that this is an MMO and people like the feeling of progression in an MMO like this. I don't think there should be no advantage to being higher level, but it needs to be at some sort of sweet spot so that a new player doesn't feel completely daunted coming into PvP and can go out there, have fun, and not just get one-shot by everything. Now, this beta, the PvP scaling was adjusted so that your levels mattered a lot more. I still had a lot of fun playing this beta, however, I definitely noticed the power difference if my opponent had 10 or more levels on me. I wouldn't say the fight was unwinnable at that point, but I'm imagining a level 60 in endgame gear, taking almost no damage from a lower level player, and killing them basically in one hit. I mean, if someone was 10 or 15 levels on me, they could almost kill me in one hit. So with the more progression-based PvP system, I think it really promotes a negative PvP environment where levels mean a lot more and we see a lot of griefing. The way this game is set up, the open world PvP portion takes place all over the map, including in the lower level zones. So there will definitely be level 60 players flagged in the low level zones as the game progresses. In short, this style of scaling system would really quickly kill low-level PvP. So what is the perfect solution? People have had a ton of different opinions about this. Personally, when it comes to a game like an MMO, I think the PvP portion should be heavily based on player skill. I've had the experience where gear and levels mean a lot more than player ability, and it's not a lot of fun, and it definitely doesn't promote a healthy PvP environment. That being said, the PvE side of the game needs to have that progression feel. It's almost like the two sides need to be polar opposites of each other. PvP is all about that equal playing field, and PvE is all about that grind. I know in some ways this game design maybe doesn't make sense, and definitely can devalue endgame grinding for PvP items, but at the same time, I think it's the best compromise to have a very healthy environment with PvE and PvP players coexisting. Something I want to talk about is that Amazon actually went and tested these extremes during the course of these two betas. I like that they weren't afraid to give these options a shot. The game isn't released yet, so they kind of have that freedom to make these kind of changes to see how people react to them. I think realistically, we're definitely not going to see the scaling system we saw in this beta, and we'll see something a lot more similar to what was in the closed beta. I just think that it was important for Amazon to explore this option, see how people reacted to it, and then decide whether they should or shouldn't do it before the game came out. If you think about it, this past year of the betas as well as the alpha tests have kind of been like the first year trial of an MMO. The first year for an MMO can be a very difficult year for them because a lot of things can change really rapidly. So I think Amazon has kind of gotten a bit of that out of the way during the course of these past betas. Hopefully this results in a smoother launch process for the game, and hopefully we don't see another delay for New World. I am itching to actually start my character and account for this game. So yeah, big part of me just wants to have this game come out because I cannot wait any longer. So there you go, guys. I did my best to present the information that I have and of course present you guys with my opinion. I would really like to know what you guys think about the scaling as well. Are you for one extreme or the other, or is there some sweet spot in the middle that could satisfy both parties? New World kind of has a unique opportunity to make a massive MMO game here that has a ton of PvE and PvP in it. So getting this system right is going to be super important for the future of this game. Based on your guys' personal experiences playing this game, what do you think is going to be the best option for the future of New World that will not only pull in experienced PvP players, but also encourage people to get into PvP in the first place? Because that's going to be a super important part of retaining a long-term PvP audience. You can let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed the gameplay and you're interested in the build that I was using in this video, I've got a full video guide to it, a link down below in the description for you guys, and I've also included a link to the fully written guide on my website, pvpnewworld.com. I will be doing written guides for all of my builds on the site, so you can look forward to more in the future. There's just 2 on there for now, and I've got a ton of general information about the game on there too. Give me a follow on Twitter if you guys want to keep up to date with me, and if you want to watch some live gameplay, you can always give me a follow on Twitch. When the game comes out, I will be playing a ton of PvP, and we'll be doing a lot of other stuff on stream too. I'm hoping to do a community-featured battle series for New World, so if you guys have awesome clips of PvP and you want to see that featured on the channel, you can send it to KristoferESO@hotmail.com. We are sponsored by What the Fast. They're a VPN for gamers. They can give you better ping to your favorite games, free to try for the first month. There's a link down below in the description for you guys. And then last but certainly not least, a massive thank you and shout out, as always, to all of my patrons on Patreon. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. Thank you guys so much for giving me the opportunity to do this job. Thank you everybody for tuning in and watching today. As always, I hope that you guys enjoyed. Have a great night, everyone, and I'll see you next time.